So, did you people have any doubts from the previous topic that we had discussed? Any doubts, anything you wanted to ask? Also, everyone, switch on your videos, please. Yes, everyone, you people are able to hear me? Switch on your videos. Let's start today's class. Am I audible to you all? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Then please switch on your videos. Everyone. Jason? So in the previous class, I believe we had completed till the second function of the ecosystem. That was the decomposition, right? Now, we also saw what are the various processes that are involved during decomposition. We saw the factors that affected the rate of decomposition and how quick or slowed down it happened. We also saw how decomposition is one of the major cleaning force for the ecosystem. Now today we're going to discuss the next thing, that is the energy flow. Energy flow, 60 students. For example, if you think about it, there are plants, there are herbivores, there are carnivores, right? Omnivores, all the different types of organisms are there. Remember that every group of organisms forms a trophic level, meaning that every group of organism comes on a certain level, which you can say has dietary requirements and the nutrition that it gets. So when we talk about energy flow, so the energy flow takes place, meaning the movement of energy takes place from one trophic level to another through all the various like organisms that are there at each of the trophic level. So when we talk about the energy flow, so it is the sequential process of the movement of energy in the ecosystem through a series of organisms. Now, the thing that you people have to remember, that the solar radiation, meaning the sun rays, right, that come from the sun, obviously. Now, out of all of the sun rays, the part that is absorbed by the plants for the process of photosynthesis is less than 50%. So less than 50% of the total available sunlight is absorbed by the plant. That is photosynthetically active radiation. I mean, this is the particular, not absorbed by the plants. Imagine it like this much amount of solar energy is available for the plants for photosynthesis. 50% of the total, less than 50% of the total sun rays or solar energy. Now, during the photosynthesis process, the plants only acquire 1 to 5% of this 50% energy. If we are talking about the gross primary productivity. And when you remove the respiratory loss, that is 0.8 minus 4. Anyway, but remember that less than 50% is available and we call it as photosynthetically active radiation. Then what about the rest 50? So the rest of the gases, they are basically reflected by the clouds. They get absorbed by the gases that are there in the atmosphere. They become water vapor and they absorb the extra solar radiation. So more than 50% goes there. Less than 50% is available for the plants for utilization. Now, when we talk about the energy flow, so it is a process wherein the solar energy or the solar radiation goes to the producers, that is the plant, which flows to the herbivores, then to the carnivores, and then to the top carnivores. Okay. So basically, when we talk about this energy flow, it's this. So, like for example, if A plant is doing photosynthesis. So the plant is fixing the CO2 and making the food for everyone. Now, when the herbivores eat that plant, they get the energy. And when the herbivores get eaten by another organism like the carnivore, then the carnivores get the rest of the energy. That's the case. Now, this way only the energy gets transferred. Now, this transfer of energy or the whole entire pattern where you see one organism is eating another organism, in turn getting eaten by another, we call that as the food chain. And the food chains are of three types. Grazing food chain, this one, basic one. Plants eaten by the herbivores, eaten by the carnivores. Then the food chain that takes place during the decomposition reaction, we call it as the detritus food chain. And then the one that is there in the parasitic nature, we call it as the parasitic food chain. Now, the one that we are concerned with the most is the grazing food chain, in which the producers are involved, consumers are involved, and the decomposers are involved. Here, the ultimate source of energy for any living organism is indeed the sun, which provides the solar radiation. So firstly, the primary producer, which is the plant, that forms the lower trophic level, the first trophic level denoted as T1. Then the primary consumer are the herbivores, which forms the second trophic level, meaning second nutritional level. Then comes the secondary consumer, which forms the third trophic level. After that, we have the top consumer or top carnivore, which forms the fourth trophic level. So you see how the energy from the first trophic level moves to the second trophic level and ultimately to the third and lastly to the fourth. Right? This is how the energy gets transferred. Now let us see the example of the organisms that would be present at each of these trophic levels. So we have grasses, trees, and in the water there's phytoplankton. So all of these organisms are found in the primary producer category, the first trophic level. Now the organisms that eat them are the herbivores, and they are found in the second trophic level, such as grasshoppers, cows, and then in the aquatic ecosystem, then we have the zooplankton. After that, the secondary consumers that eat the primary consumer, we have the birds, the fishes, the wolves. And lastly, the top carnivore, the secondary carnivore, it is the fourth trophic level, further which there's no trophic level. No one eats them like man, human being, and lion. So the energy travels from the lower trophic level, means the T1 up until T4. This is energy flow. Clear? And remember that the grazing food chain is the major conduit of energy flow in an aquatic system. Like in the aquatic system, the whole entire transfer mechanism of energy is followed by the grazing food chain. You don't find other kinds of food chain easily. You just find the grazing food chain the most. Is it clear to everyone, the first kind of food chain? Okay. After that, we move on to the second kind, which is the detritus food chain. Now, this starts from detritus, meaning the raw material for decomposition. Now, that detritus, that decomposition raw material, the earthworms and the decomposers will come and start acting on it, right? Which will start to decompose them. Further, you can say the sparrow or the birds would eat these worms, right? So they would become the consumer in this case. And then the falcon, which is a bigger bird, it will eat the sparrow. So you see how here the detritus is the trophic 1 and the falcon is the trophic 4. Clear? So the kind of food chain which starts from the detritus. Detritus is what? It is basically raw material of photosynthesis, right? So the raw material of photosynthesis is what we call as detritus. And this is, if the food chain is starting from there, then we call it as the detritus food chain. After that, there comes parasitic food chain. So, for example, if a tree is there and the tree has the herbivorous birds on it, and then the birds, they basically on them are the bugs present, lice present, which are deriving or sucking blood from them. So here it is like a parasitic food chain. Parasitic food chain is not asked a lot in exams, but grazing food chain is very, very important. It is asked many times. Any doubts up until now? So let's now remember that we talked about the food chain, but the thing is the food chain is not at all practical. Can anyone tell me why? Why is food chain not practical? Hmm? Tell me, students, why do you think, like in your opinion, can you tell me why is the food chain not practical? No one would respond.
Because probably they don't eat only one type of organism or something.
Yes. The reason why, it's because, like for example, an organism can have a dual diet. For example, if you think about a sparrow, the sparrow can eat insect also and it can eat seeds also. So an organism can have dual diet, which makes it difficult for a single energy transfer level. That is why food chains are not practical. So when we talk about the next thing that is actually practical, that is food web. So the detritus food chain may be connected with the grazing food chain at some levels. Some of the organisms of the detritus food chain, they are the prey, the grazing food chain animals. So in ecosystem, linear food chains, they rarely exist. Okay, because every organism can have an alternate source of food. They can have dual food. They can, if plant is available, they eat plants. If animal is available, they'll eat animal. So an animal may have preference for a particular prey, but if the prey is in very small amount or if it is not available, then it can go and feed on other prey as well. Single animal may be eaten by different animals and thus different food chains get interconnected and one animal may be the link in more than one food chain. That is why the food chains are not very practical. But when we talk about food web and what is it? So it's like a network of interconnected food chains, right? When several food chains, they connect and form a sort of like a network, a mesh-like structure, right? And they have all the different trophic levels and everything, then we call it as a food web, which is much more practical and it is something that when it occurs, it provides stability to the environment, to the ecosystem. So food webs, they operate because of taste preference for particular food and unavailability of food. For example, if the organism prefers one type of prey, so it's going to eat that. But if that is unavailable, so it's not going to stay hungry. It's going to eat the next thing available. So this is what food web explains to us, that it's not necessary that the organism can stay fixed to a single diet. Now, food webs, they operate because of taste preference, right? One animal may feed upon organism of even different trophic level. Like snake, they can feed upon the mice, which is a herbivore, and a frog, which is a carnivore. Jackal, they are both carnivores and they are even scavengers. They basically eat the dead also. Sparrow is a primary consumer when it is eating a seed, meaning it is a herbivore when it is eating a seed. And as it eats the insect or the worms, it becomes a carnivore. It becomes a secondary consumer. So food chain and food web, is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. And for what happiness or for what reason you people have switched off your video? Can I have a nice explanation, please? Maybe I'll understand. Hmm? Why is it that none of you want to show me your faces? What will I do? Eat you through the screen? Or see your house? Switch on your videos, everyone. Jyobita, please don't make me take your name again and again in every class, please. Yes, and be like that now. Everyone, keep your videos on. When you people write, I tell you to switch it off. You people, I don't even tell you now. As soon as I say, okay, now you can write, everyone's video is off. So that you can do, it's allowed. But while I'm teaching, show me a little respect and keep your videos. So food web and food chain, is it clear to everyone? Yes or no? Does anyone have any doubts?
No.
Okay. Now we come on to a very important topic, that is the energy transfer law. Now this law of energy transfer, it is also called as 10% law. So this law of energy transfer it was proposed by Lindman in the year 1952. So he said that when the energy gets transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level, only 10% of the total available energy gets transferred. Again, I'll repeat it, 10% of the total available energy. Because for this topic, you people get numerical questions also. They'll ask you, how much energy will be present at this trophic level? How much energy will be present at that trophic level? This can be a very, it's a very common question. So when we talk about the energy transfer law, so the transfer of energy from one trophic level to another trophic level is accompanied by the loss of energy at each level or step. Like as the energy is getting transferred from one trophic to another, simultaneously the energy is also getting lost. So when plants are eaten by the herbivores, 10% of that energy is fixed into the animal flesh, while 90% is consumed in ingestion, like eating, respiration, and all of the activities of the body. So only 10% gets transferred. Clear? So similarly, when the carnivore consumes the herbivore, again 10% of the available energy. Now the reason why I'm saying 10% of available energy is, for example, see here, if the producer is having 1000 kilocalories of energy, so 10% of 1000, right? This is how you take out percentage. So 100 kilocalories is going to go into the herbivore. Now, when they are going to ask you how much energy does the carnivore get, so you take out the 10% of available energy, meaning now you do 100 into 10%. So 10 kilocalorie energy goes to carnivore 1. And then again, you do 10% of that 10 kilocalorie. Understood? So 1 kilocalorie. So the main important thing that you have to remember over here is that however much energy is available, 10% of that much energy is going to get transported or going to get transferred from one trophic level to another. Is it clear, students? Always remember, 10% is getting transferred and the 90% is getting dissipated. It's like used up. Only 10% is gained at every trophic level. This is very, very, very important. Okay? So you see how if you like we always draw producer at the bottom whenever I've taught you, but they have put it at the top. Doesn't matter. But you can see that when it moves from the first trophic level up until the last trophic level, the energy, the amount of energy, like in kilocalorie over here, it is getting reduced, right? Clear? So it is 20%, 30%, 60% respectively at producer, consumer, and top carnivore. So this is basically about energy transfer law. Have you people understood this thing?
Yes.
Any doubts? Is it clear? The energy, this is very important. I'm writing it over here. so that in exam you people will pay clear attention to this. This law was given by the Lindman law. So this is the 10% law of energy transfer given by Lindman. So you see how in this particular picture, you can visualize how the energy is being transported at different trophic levels. So from the sun, the energy comes to the first trophic level, that is the producer, the plants. Then it goes to the second, which is the earthworm. And then a lot of energy is getting dissipated in the form of heat also. See, everywhere heat. So only 10% is moving from every trophic level, 10% 10% throughout. So this is the law of energy transfer. Now after that there comes standing state and standing crop. Now all the inorganic substances that are present, okay, the amount of inorganic substance like all the minerals and stuff that is present in the ecosystem per unit area at a given time is what we call as a standing state. This is the inorganic substance not found in the living organism, found in the environment, in the soil and everywhere. Now, when we talk about the living material that is present, then that is standing crop. Okay. We can express it in terms of biomass, number, right? And per unit area, obviously. So the biomass of a species is expressed in terms of the fresh weight or dry weight. Okay. And dry weight means what? Drying the tissue of the dead organism and then taking up the weight so that the moisture and everything is removed. So these are the two things. Standing state is for non-living things that is not found in the living organism. And standing crop is the living material that is present in every trophic level. Is it clear, students? Any doubts? Anything you all want to ask me? No. Okay. After that, we have the ecological pyramid. So ecological pyramid, it shows you depending upon the number. You people remember in population chapter, we studied that thing, stable population, declining population. Remember that? How you represented it with bars. Same way in the ecological pyramid, you're going to use those bars only, but to depict the number, the biomass, and the available energy at different trophic level. So, as an introductory thing, ecological pyramids, these are the graphical representation of various ecological parameters at trophic level, at successive trophic levels. Top carnivores are always at the top. Let's see here. If you see, just look at this picture. The one that is formed at the base, it is the primary producer. Another primary consumer, secondary consumer, and then the tertiary consumer. So the tertiary consumer is always at the top and the producer is always at the bottom, usually. Okay. And depending upon, like, for example, this ecological pyramid, it could be for number, talking about how many number of organisms are found. It could be in biomass, like how much production of organic material is being done from them, or it could even be for energy, like how much energy is present at every trophic level. Clear, students? So this is just the introduction that I'm giving. Now tell me, what is the last thing you people have written? Check and tell me. And once you people are done writing a few, then we'll start with pyramids of number. What is the last thing you people have written, students? Nothing. Nothing you've written. This thing, the composition was completed. Yes or no? Did you write decomposition? Yes or no?
Yes.
Jesslyn, can you tell me? Acha, decomposition is
No,
completed.
absent last.
You were absent. So Marwa, you only tell me what is the last thing you've written?
Now the started solution.
Hmm?
Oh, this
What?
question
Okay.
to this question.
Please speak louder. What?
Ma'am, to this question.
Discussion. Discussion.
Till that question.
Till the question. Which question? Name the question.
That earthworm's question about the under decomposition. Yes,
This
this one.
thing. All right. Okay. You people note down now. Now you can switch off your video. And once I teach, you can switch it on.
Ma'am, can you scroll? Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done till here. Shall I scroll down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, can I leave the class as I'm going outside now?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, everyone's done. Any doubts up until now?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
10 students, 10 till here.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Done, students.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. Now let us move forward and talk about the energy pyramid where we left off. Now see, like I told you, this ecological pyramid, it could be of various kinds, taking different things into consideration. Pyramid of number, pyramid of biomass, and even the pyramid of energy. So these are the ones that we actually have to study. So the first one that we have to study is the pyramid of number. Now, pyramid of number would be upright. What is the meaning of upright, students? Upright. Upright means straight. Okay. The bottom at the bottom, top at the top, that is upright. And the opposite of upright would be upside down. So in most ecosystem, the numbers of producers are maximum, right? The number of plants, the number of trees, it's the maximum. Now, when the transfer of food takes place at the next trophic level, it's only 10% of the food or the 10% of the energy that gets transferred, whereas the 90% of the energy is either released in the form of respiratory product or released as a heat energy. Producers can thus support fewer herbivores, and then herbivores will be eaten by the carnivores and so on. So if you think about here, the pyramid of number tells you how the number of producers is more, followed by primary consumer, followed by secondary consumer, and lastly, the tertiary consumer or the top carnivore. That is how you see the sequence of the different types of trophic level, right? So you see how the numbers are given over here. The numbers of producers, numbers of primary consumer, secondary consumer, and the tertiary. Now, one thing to note over here, that the maximum number will be for the producers and the minimum, the least number will be for the top carnivore. Meaning, like for example, if you compare the number of trees and grasses and everything to the number of lions in the jungle. Obviously, which one is more? Plants or lions? Plants. So thus, with each successive trophic level, the numbers of individuals, they get decreased. Therefore, the pyramid of number is always upright. Upright means straight. Highest and then lowest at the top. This is what upright is. Right? So grassland ecosystem, pond ecosystem, this is showing the upright pyramid of number. Now, when the number of producer is very less and the number of carnivores are more, so the pyramid of number can be inverted. Inverted means the highest at the top, lowest at the bottom. So in some cases, at each successive trophic level, the number of organisms is higher than in the preceding one. So the size gradually decreases. So this shape becomes inverted. For example, the large size trees, it supports a lot of frugivorous birds. Frugivorous means the fruit eating birds. Now, the number of ectoparasites like mites, ticks, lices, bugs, they depend upon the birds and they are much more in number. For every bird, you have thousands of mites and stuff on the body of the bird. So here, the parasites are more, then comes the number of birds, and then comes the tree. So this is the inverted pyramid of number. Okay, is it clear, students? Any doubts? So that is the inverted pyramid of number. Now, furthermore, when we talk about the next, that is spindle shape. So a tree supports a number of herbivores. So now this is in the middle of the upright and the inverted kind. The herbivore birds, they are eaten by one or two hawks of the area. So this was for number, the number of organisms. Then comes the pyramid of biomass. What is biomass? The amount of living matter expressed as weight at any trophic level at a given time is what we call as biomass. So when the biomass depends upon the number of organisms. So for example, for the upright kind of biomass, or you can say imagine a terrestrial ecosystem, okay, the land ecosystem. So here, the pyramid of biomass is always going to be upright. In this case, what happens? The total number of like the biomass of the plants, it is more than that of the herbivore, which is like more than that of the carnivores and so on. So remember that the pyramid of biomass is mostly upright in the case of the terrestrial ecosystem, meaning the land ecosystem has the pyramid of biomass that is upright. Upright means straight pyramid that increases from the bottom and like decreases from the bottom to the top. So the tree and the grassland ecosystem, all the terrestrial ecosystems would have the upright pyramid of biomass. After that, we have the inverted pyramid of biomass. So this one is mostly found in the aquatic ecosystem. Just like how the upright pyramid of biomass was found in the terrestrial ecosystem, now this one is found in the aquatic ecosystem. So here, why? Because imagine the number of phytoplanktons can be less, whereas the zooplanktons that eats the phytoplankton, they can be more in the water body. So the pyramid of biomass in the aquatic ecosystem, it would be inverted. Inverted means more at the top, less at the bottom. For example, the zooplankton and the biomass of it is higher than the phytoplankton. Why? Because the lifespan of zooplankton is more. Phytoplanktons live for a short period of time, whereas zooplankton lives more. So that is why they have much more biomass present. A number of generations of phytoplanktons may thus be consumed by a single generation of zooplankton. The biomass of fish could be larger, right? And that's the case. So that is why when we talk about the aquatic ecosystem, because they have a different living system as compared to the the land ecosystem. So that is why the type of pyramid that is produced at like for them, it is also going to be different. Is it clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the case. Anisa, why are you so late today? You've joined very late today. Why? When did you join the meeting, Anisa? Okay, up until now, is it clear to everyone? Does anyone have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
All right. Okay, students. So for today's class, we'll keep it till here only and we'll be continuing in the next class. Okay. And next
Alright,
class
ma'am.
meaning tomorrow. So all of you, please do the homework and revise whatever has been taught. And hopefully in tomorrow's class, we'll complete this chapter. It's almost completed only. So come prepared with this chapter so that we can solve questions on it. Is it clear? Now in your syllabus, I believe only one chapter is left, and that is biodiversity and conservation. And the rest of the chapters are done for all of you, right, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anyone who doesn't like who haven't attended any class or missed a particular chapter? So name that chapter so that I can schedule it. So if we begin from the top, so sexual reproduction of flowering plants, everyone has attended those classes? Yes or no?
Yes,
Quickly
ma'am.
respond. Okay. Human reproduction?
Yes.
Okay. Marwa, you can also respond. Please respond so that you only will face a loss. Then this thing, reproductive health.
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone has attended. Okay. Principles of inheritance. Everyone has attended.
Yes, ma'am.
Molecular basis.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Then this thing, human health.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Evolution.
Yes.
All right. Microbes.
Yes. Yes.
Biotechnology 1 and 2.
Yes.
Okay, organism population is also done. And this, so we only have one chapter. Now, Anisa, since you have joined the batch late, can you please write in the chat box what all chapters have not been done for you? The rest of you can leave the meeting. Anisa, you stay.
Thank you, ma'am. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, students. Good night, everyone. Yes, Anisa, write the chapter's name that have not been done for you. Alva, you can leave the meeting. The class is over, so you can leave the meeting. Anisa, are you done writing? Principle of inheritance isn't done. Okay. Molecular basis is done or not?
Ma'am, principles of inheritance. I wasn't present. These chapters I wasn't present, which I'm going to type in the chat box.
You weren't present, but you have joined the class, like the batch before that, or you haven't had joined the batch. Hmm? Which one? Tell me now.
Missed in between, like because of exams, I didn't attend the classes during that time. I missed a lot of chapters, so those chapters I'm typing it down. Um,
Okay, okay. So you were absent because you had your exams. Okay, so then for you, the recordings and everything will be sent so that you can make up for the lost classes. Okay. All right. Okay, dear. We'll keep it to here only. And please try to join on time from the next class. Okay, and
yes,
see you
ma'am.
tomorrow. Oh,
Sorry, ma'am.
it's okay. No problem.
Thank you, ma'am.